Yes, y'all. Welcome to
Stays Crunchy and Milk.
If you have opinions or queries you wish to share, we have multiple ways to be reached. The email address for the show is podcast@stayscrunchyandmilk.com. On Twitter, it's at skimpod, SKIMPOD.
Stays Crunchy.
And if you're feeling froggy, go on and jump into our voicemail line at 216-3028-POD. That's 216-3028-8763. The show can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, and as always at our website, stayscrunchyandmilk.com.
Stays Crunchy.
Please rate, review, subscribe, and share the show on your own social media feeds. And if you want to get at us directly, feel free to reach out via our personal Twitter.
Stays.
It's at Tatum216, Lunchbox 2099, The Real ODP, and I'm your host, Tabrail713.
Stays Crunchy and Milk.
So here's what happened. I worked at a Goodwill, and we did community service. We had people there that did community service. And one day we had a community service worker, a younger black woman, not younger, she's older than me.
Yeah.
But she was like early 30s. I was mid-20s at that point.
Yeah.
And she came in to do community service, and I thought she was attractive. Short little black girl, blah, 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 like my speed. And I was attracted to her, but, you know, she had a engagement ring on and shit, so I didn't do nothing, because I wasn't that type, I'm not that type of guy.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks after she did community service, she had put in for a job because she was looking for work because she lost her job where she was at. And we needed a cashier.
Yeah.
And so I recommended that they hire her because when she came to do the job, man, Smoke Dog, I appreciate this, but I'm getting tired of holding your ass. Like I'm literally holding up his rear end right now.
Just let him fall. He'll just leave if he needs to. Yeah, see? He'll find his way.
Yeah, sit next to Daddy. So I ended up getting her hired as a cashier. And she worked there for probably like year and a half, 2 years. And over that time that like we talked a lot, like we became friends in the place. Mm. And I grew to care about her, and she had gotten into some debt, we'll say, and I was just trying to give her guidance on that kind of shit, and it came out like her asking me why I was trying to help her so much, and I just, at that point, I've been holding it in, you know, and I just fucking told her one day, I'm like, I care about you, like, I like you, and it kind of, like, at that point, the relationship changed, because she had told me that, like, she didn't want to marry her fiance, that she wanted to leave and all this kind of shit. So at that point, like, she was talking about how she just hadn't quite left yet. Like, she stayed at her mom's more, but, like, it's because, like, he had kids or whatever from a previous relationship, and it was kind of like an attachment, so that's why she hadn't left yet. But at that point, our relationship kind of changed, where, like, we were more, like, flirtatious with each other. Yeah. And, like, there was, like, one day where, like, her and one of the other workers, I think she was a team lead at this point, were talking to me, and she purposely, like, stood up next to me with her butt into my hip, that kind of shit. Like, we'd be in the office doing paperwork, and, like, we'd purposely, like, touch hands on the paperwork, that kind of shit. And, like, that went on for a while. And, like, we texted all the time. There's a song on my Spotify playlist that was our song, because whenever that came on, like, whenever we would hear it, the other person would text the other person, like, oh, this is on this radio station right now, or they're playing this in the store or whatever. It was Lady Antebellum, Need You Now. That was the song. And then I had a ringtone song for her. It was Jeremiah, Put It Down on Me.
I don't know the song, but I don't know a lot of Jeremiah works. Forgive me.
Yeah. So this went on Man, probably about 8 months.
Okay.
And it was like, almost like it was incognito. One, because people there weren't supposed to date.
Yeah.
So it was like, this wasn't supposed to be in the public at all or anything. And then also, like, the whole situation was muddied because, the whole trying to leave the ex thing. So there wasn't like we really did much together at all ever, other than like the little stuff.
Yeah. Workplace romance.
Yeah. And then about 8 months into it, like, we had hired a dude for donation attendant with my old job, because at this point I was the assistant manager. I had worked my way up from team lead, then I worked my way up to assistant manager. And I had hired this dude as a donor attendant. He was a younger black kid. Like, I had a tendency to want to hire people who were kind of down on their luck and needed a chance, because at that point when I got hired in at Goodwill, I weighed 473 pounds. I hadn't worked a job in over 2 years, and the guy that was the manager there gave me a chance.
Yeah.
And I showed up every day. I worked. I went home. I went to sleep. And then I literally had to roll my ass out of bed onto the floor. I didn't have a bed frame at that time. I was still living at home at my mom's house. I didn't have a bed frame. My mattress and box spring were just like on the floor. Mm-hmm. And every day I hurt so much that I just literally rolled onto the floor, onto my hands and knees, and then had to pick myself up off the ground to get up and go back to work the next day. And I did that shit every day. Because like when I got hired in, I was only supposed to be part-time. But like a month into me getting hired, the guy who was the full... Because we had one guy who was the full-time, 40 hours a week, and then I was the part-time like cover guy. Yeah. Well, a month into me getting hired there, the guy who was the 40-hour guy had like a medical emergency, and he was out. So suddenly I was working 40, 50 hours a week at 470 pounds doing manual labor when the only movement I had done at all was playing some street ball in the front yard. I was staying up all night, sleeping all day, eating junk food, doing nothing, and I just ballooned up. And all of a sudden it's like, now I got to go fucking pull bags out of people's cars and load trucks and take out trash and lift furniture. So I was in a lot of pain for a long time while like the weight worked off me. I lost 100 pounds like in that first year just because I went from doing nothing to fucking moving again. Yeah. I appreciated the opportunity because at that point, like, I was basically unhireable, and they gave me a chance. So, and then like where I grew up, I didn't grow up in a fancy neighborhood or nothing. Like, I knew people who had hardly anything. So like when people would come in, like they might not have had like a suit and tie or whatever, but like I wanted to give chances to people who seemed like they were willing to put the work in and get something while they figured it out. Yeah. So like I hired this dude, and it was like I should have saw it in the beginning. And what I mean is like he was the kind of young black dude that all the women gravitated towards. Okay. And he used that to his advantage. Because like he ended up, the woman that I was doing all that shit with,
your workplace romance, yeah.
He ended up sleeping with her, and then he ended up sleeping with one of the cashiers too, because they got into it at that point, like the cashier and the girl I would talk to, because at that point it was like territory. So there was like cat fighting going on there. And what had happened was when he and her had started this is when her and I had still been like doing stuff. But then it was like it changed all of a sudden. It went from like clear interest and like reciprocated feelings to distance and short irritations that I'd like. And this was my first foray into all this. Because any other time I had interest in people, it never like, nothing ever happened. Nothing ever came of it. Like, I didn't really pursue any of this stuff. So it was all kind of new to me. I was like, I said what I felt. It seemed reciprocated. things were happening, and then all of a sudden it was like anger and like judgment and like accusations and distance, and I was like, I didn't understand, you know?
Yeah.
So then we had been fighting a lot, and I started to get really stressed out, like bad, to the point where like I didn't want to go to work, and I wanted to like scream. So there's an annual gaming convention in Indianapolis every year called Gen Con. So I decided to take my vacation, go to this convention with my friends so that I could get away from her and our fighting, and because I wanted a break. And when I said all this, she got super angry at me, started screaming at me, talking about like why you want to get away from me, you feel like you can't talk to me no more, like you want to take a vacation just so you can leave me, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And so I talked to her, and then it was like we agreed that we would talk every day while I was gone, but it would be like we would rotate each day who would text the other person first. Of course, I hit all mine. She didn't hit all hers. And when I came back, he had took another job someplace else, so he was gone. So in that week, a little over a week that I was gone, he took a job at Bell Tire out in Bedford. And it was like things felt off.
Yeah.
And then that's when the rumors started about like what had gone down while I was gone.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone in question denied it to me. But then the cashier started spilling the dirt to me, the truth. So then, like, I called her. She was off, and I was like the opening manager or whatever. And I called her, and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" I'm like, "All these people are saying like I'm like, this is what I've been told. You've been real shitty to me." And she was in the car with like her cousin dropping somebody off at like the courthouse or child support office or some shit. And she just started like fucking tearing into me and tearing me down on speakerphone with her cousin in the car.
Yeah.
Like why you call me on this bullshit? Don't talk to me, blah, blah, blah. That kind of shit, you know? And then the problem with me and that dude was that like we had been cool. Like, I gave him a ride home a couple times. We actually played basketball together a couple times. Like, I thought we were cool. And I asked him, and he's like, he denied it. And then all that shit happened where, like, everyone was like, no, this happened. And I called him the one day, and I was just like, hey, man, like, what's going on? And then, like, he basically just was like, yeah, I fucked her, whatever. Don't ever fucking call my phone again. And I was like, that was what broke me.
Yeah.
And I basically, so that happened in like end of August, early September. At this point, I was the assistant manager. They had been wanting to train me to take over an entire store.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was like, so this all happened right before I turned 26. Yeah, I was still 25 when this all happened. I was going to turn 26 in a couple weeks. So I was 25 years old, being groomed to be a store manager for Goodwill.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was fucking broken inside. Because this was my first foray into having a relationship with anybody.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the most fucked up situations you could possibly have because I wasn't supposed to date a coworker.
Yeah.
Then they cheated on me with another coworker. Then everyone fucking treated me like shit. And I couldn't say or do anything about it because I did it with someone I fucking worked with. And I was supposed to be the authority figure.
Yeah.
So I had to bottle all this shit in. Oh, and I forgot to mention, too. When I was on that trip to Gen Con in Indianapolis, when I was staying with all my buddies, we all bunked in like one hotel room. They told me that while we were on the trip, every night I was fucking sleep talking. I was so stressed out that I was talking to myself in my sleep. So I was carrying all that on my heart. And so then I come back, all this shit happens, and now it's at the point where like I fucked up by getting myself in the situation, and I had to bottle it all in again because I fucked up and there's no out. Like, I needed the job, because at this point, like I moved out of my mom's house, and I was now in my first apartment with somebody else, and I had to keep making money because I didn't have a big savings account and everything, and like it was a 2-party system. I had to pay my half the rent and all that, so I had to swallow all this shit and hold on to it so that I could keep moving, and I held in all that shit for about 7 months. I didn't talk to her. We worked together. I was the fucking manager. And the only time I ever said anything to her was when I absolutely had to. And everyone in the place, because there was only a staff of like 13 of us or whatever, so it's like you're working with the same fucking people every day.
Yeah.
People could see what was happening between us, that we weren't talking, or that like I was being petty at times. I was being short with her. Like, whereas before I would be jokey and teachy, I turned into rude and abrasive.
Yeah.
And people picked up on all that stuff. And then sides got drawn, where there were people in the place that knew that deep down I was a good guy, and I got fucked over. And then there were the other people who were like, well, she's a woman, and you're being shitty to her. Like, you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
And so it was like, at that point, there was another woman who had gotten hired in, and she as a team lead because she used to be a manager at Giant Eagle, and she saw what was going on, and she saw it as an opportunity to get me ousted so that she can move up into my position.
Yeah.
So she started spreading rumors to the people in the store, telling them, like, I was really friendly with who the store manager was, to the point where she had even had me over with her and her boyfriend's family for Thanksgiving dinner. I ate dinner at my mom's house and then went to their house to have second Thanksgiving dinner. Like, that's how friendly we were. She was a nice woman. And I feel bad that she got fucked over too, because she had hired I think it was like the girlfriend of one of her boyfriend's sons to be a cashier. The girl was nice, and I don't try and disrespect anyone really anymore these days, but she was fucking stupid. And I tried to help her, I tried to teach her, and I was never fucking rude to her. And that woman who was trying to get me fired, and I have no proof, but I know what happened all around in the events. One night I was the closing manager, and that girl was my cashier for the night, because the way that it worked, most of the people worked in the morning, afternoon, because they had processors in the back that would like go through the clothes and go through the wares and stuff. They weren't really floor people. So at night, like at that point, they would think all the production would be done. So the night shift, like the evening shift, was really just like one manager, one cashier, and one person on the donor door during the week, because it wasn't as busy. So it was me, my buddy who was running donor door, another college kid that I got hired. I'm still friends with. He lives in St. Louis. He was from St. Louis. He was up here going to college at one of the auto trade schools.
Yeah.
And then he's back in St. Louis now. He actually came up and saw me like a year and a half ago.
I recall.
He was working the door, and I was the manager, and she was the cashier. She went on her lunch break, so I was covering the register for her. Never fucking came back. She dipped on me in the middle of her shift. And then people were telling me she left because she was told that I was talking shit about their family. I never once said a goddamn word negative about their family. I enjoyed my time there with them at Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
I was excited at the fact that they invited me over. So I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, I never said anything negative at all.
Yeah.
And then, so that happened, and then someone filed an HR complaint against me.
Ugh.
So they actually had an investigation where they came in and they interviewed everyone in the store about me and things I would say and do. And it wasn't true, but they had to come in because someone filed a complaint anonymously.
Yeah.
So, like, there's one of my friends is a older black guy who worked there. He was a felon.
Mm.
And he was a felon because he killed his brother.
Oof. Wow.
But I don't. There were circumstances where it wasn't like a murder. There was like a fight, and he accidentally died. It wasn't an intentional thing, and so it's one of those things where like it's a major regret in his life. But he and I became close there because it was another thing where like I treat people around me with kindness.
Yeah.
He was in a shitty marriage with a woman that treated him like shit. He didn't have a car, so he had to bike back and forth to work all the time. And, you know, he had that thing happen in his life that obviously it fucking weighs on him every day.
Yeah.
And he was struggling with money because that job don't pay shit.
Yeah.
So, like, I had any chance I got, like, if he was getting overwhelmed, I'd go out there and help. I bought him lunch a bunch of times. Like, I'd go out and get lunch, and I'd ask him what he wanted and bring him stuff back. I didn't ask for a goddamn thing in return. There were times where it would be raining, and I would give him a ride home. I'd put his bike in my trunk, and I would drive him home. And I remember he told me, like, when they came in and they interviewed him, he said that he told them that I didn't do any of that shit, that it was that woman making up rumors and that I was a good guy.
Yeah.
And we're still Facebook friends. He messages me. I've bumped into him a few times downtown. Yeah. We talk from time to time. He had stuff come up I've helped him with, and so that happened, and they dropped it because everyone was, like, a bunch of people were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" You know, he didn't do any of this stuff. So that issue went away. But then I got called into HR to go downtown because the major office is on East 55th Street, and I got called in along with my, I guess, a quote-unquote ex, because the truth came out about what had happened between us, and they had us go down there, and they interviewed us each separately, and they basically gave me a major fucking scolding, but that was kind of where it ended, because at that point we weren't together or nothing. So things were supposed to keep moving on, but at that point they were mad at me.
Yeah.
For poor judgment. But the training was supposed to continue. I was still eventually within a year supposed to get a store. Like, nothing was changing, but they let me know that, like, I can't fuck up anymore.
Yeah.
So go back to work, and about a month later, because this all happened in the fall. This was around November. So it had been a couple months since the shit really popped off. End of November, early December, I ended up winning a Magic the Gathering Pro Tour qualifier in Pittsburgh. So that qualified me to play on the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour in Honolulu, Hawaii in February. So I sold some expensive Magic cards I had so that I could pay for my hotel, because a hotel in Honolulu, Hawaii, when you're by yourself in a not expensive hotel, is still $100 a night. And I was going to be there for a week.
Yeah.
And my salary at this time was $9.50 an hour.
Yeah, big money, baby.
Yeah.
And he was a manager.
I was assistant manager. So I sold some stuff, and my plane ticket was paid for by Hasbro. And I sold some cards and bought my hotel. And I went and I played on the Pro Tour. I went 4-4, just missed day 2. You had to have a 5-3 record to make day 2. I ended with a 4-4. But I got to walk around Hawaii, and there's a bunch of pictures of it on my Facebook. I think my mom actually is the one who posted them. She just tagged me in all of them, because at the time I wasn't really social. My social media skills were kind of evolving. I just at that point kind of started Facebook within those couple years. I wasn't real big on it yet. I was late to the game, and so that happened in like February. A couple weeks later, there was a tournament in Indianapolis. So I had put in for vacation for a week. Like, you basically had to request time off, because it wasn't like now where it's like Monday through Friday, you have every weekend off. It was like retail. So, like, you didn't get every weekend off. Like, if you wanted a weekend off, you had to ask for it well in advance and have a good reason, especially as a manager. So I put in for a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because the tournament was in Indianapolis on Saturday. I figured I'd have to drive home Sunday. Then Monday Night Raw was going to be here in Cleveland at the Q, and I had tickets. So I figured I was going to take the 3-day weekend, do those things, and I was going to come back to work on Tuesday. I was supposed to come back on Tuesday and be the closing manager. So about 3 days before I was supposed to leave for this tournament on Saturday, I had made an effort to smooth things over with my quote-unquote ex so that I can move forward and continue with my life and have an amicable working relationship. I told her I don't think we could ever be friends again. I'm like, but if both of us are going to be here, we have to be able to work together without all the other bullshit. Like, we have to be able to communicate and run this place. Because at this point, she was now a shift manager.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need to be able to talk, and we can't keep fighting in front of everybody. I'm like, we have to move forward, but our relationship will never be the same. While I'm having this conversation with her, the fucking lady that had been spending months trying to get me fired, which I knew about, busts into the office as I'm doing what the fucking people wanted me to do. They wanted me to move on. They wanted me to get past it. They wanted me to work it out with her so that we could keep working.
Yeah.
I was doing what they wanted. And that fucking lady came into that goddamn office because we had been in there for about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it was fucking 7 months of bottled up bullshit that I was trying to work through. We'd been in there for about 45 minutes, and that fucking lady came into that room. She busted into that office, and she had a cordless phone in her hand, and she started pointing at me, and she started talking down to me, and just screaming at me about, like, how we needed to work, and it was unprofessional, and this, that, and the other. And I reached my breaking point. I fucking snapped. I had enough. I bottled it in for as long as I fucking could, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I broke. And I fucking cussed that lady out. I told her that no one fucking liked her ass. I told her she needed to get out of my fucking face and mind her own goddamn business and get the fuck out of that goddamn room. And obviously at that point, she called HR, told them what happened, and the thing that I ultimately ended up getting fired for, because they had cameras that they'd installed in the store probably about a year prior to that.
When the dude was on the hill?
Oh, yeah. That was another little secret that no one was supposed to know. The system manager we had it prior to me, because another lady had been assistant manager for a while before they were willing to promote me, because I was a young team lead. Yeah. I was only like 24, so they weren't really willing to put their eggs in my basket at that point. They had hired another lady, but she ended up leaving to be a manager at like Dollar General or something. So at that point, the spy that they had appointed to the store to watch over everybody kind of gave the blessing to hire to what really put me over and allowed him to provide his blessing to the regional manager to promote me was that there was a day where one of the community service workers refused to do something, and he was like a 6'8", 300-pound black guy, and I got in his face and I told him to clock out and leave. And I was a 24-year-old little white dude.
Little? Come on, man.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was a big dude, but I still, like, I went up to the dude without fear, and I just looked him in the face, and I was like, dude, that's disrespectful. Clock out, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Not without cussing, but anyway, I digress.
The fuck was implied.
I don't mean to say, like, it's just people look at it like old white guy looks at it like, oh, he talked to the giant black guy. That's ballsy. Like, no, man, he's a person.
Yeah.
And that's how I looked at it. That's why I'm not afraid. At that point, I wasn't afraid to go talk to people. Him being a giant black guy meant nothing to me. He was just a guy who refused to do what he was asked and needed to get the fuck out of there.
He could have been just smoking some reefer that.
It might have been why he was there. I don't know. But anyway, so that all happened on like a Wednesday. I went to work like on Thursday. Nothing really happened. But I told my manager what happened. Now, the cameras were there not to watch the customers, but the cameras there to watch the employees.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but they didn't have audio. They just had visual.
Yeah.
So I told my boss what happened on like that Thursday. When I came in on Friday, she told me that she hadn't heard anything about anything, so maybe that like the other woman just let it go.
Yeah.
But when I came in back, so I went on my vacation. Well, not vacation. I went on my weekend because in order to get a 3-day weekend there, you basically had to suffer through like 10 days in a row after that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was off Saturday. I went to Indy, played in the tournament, came home Sunday, and I think like oddly enough too, the Browns were playing Indy that Sunday.
Yeah.
So like, and I was right next to the stadium, so I ended up watching the game though on like a TV because I didn't have money for tickets. Drive home Sunday with my buddies. Next day, I'm off Monday. I go to Monday Night Raw, which is one of the best Raws ever. Like, John Cena and The Rock had a rock concert off, rap battle kind of thing. Like, clips from that Raw are still played on YouTube as, like, popular things.
Yeah.
I come back to work on Tuesday. I get there. I'm always early for my jobs. I get there a few minutes early. I clock in about 11:57 after I said hello to a bunch of people. As soon as my time card hits the fucking clock, security guard from East 55th comes over and asks me to come to the office. Our store didn't have a security guard.
Yeah.
When the security guard is in your store, somebody's getting fired.
Yeah.
So I get taken to the office, and they ask me what happened, and they asked me to write it down. So I told them about everything, about how she came in and was screaming at me and this, that, and the other. I write the statement. And I could see how upset the people were that were interviewing me. Mm-hmm. Because at this point, I knew the woman who did HR, I talked to her all the time.
Yeah.
Like on the phone, I had to call her about things, like paperwork related stuff or questions or whatever. She'd come in for training. I'd gone down as a manager to East 55th for various events. Like, I knew this woman.
Yeah.
The lady was the other woman sitting there was the district manager. She had spent years grooming me to be a manager. She wanted me to succeed. Like, I was her project.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even look at me. Not because she was mad at me.
She was sad.
She was sad.
Yeah.
And so I ended. They asked me for my keys, and so I turned my shit over after I had the statement written. And the security guard was about to escort me out. And I asked if there was we had a program in the store for people with like disabilities. It was like
This is what Google was known for.
Yeah, it was a program to teach people who had disabilities of sorts how to work in a work environment.
Yep.
And I wasn't in charge of any of those people.
Yeah.
They had their manager or their caseworker. I don't know the exact term because she was kind of both.
Yeah.
She had an office that they had built in the back hallway where we stored all the furniture.
Yeah.
Her and I became friends, and we're still friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
We became friends. She didn't like anybody else there, like any of the other managers. We became friends because the closing manager one night had left the store like absolute shit. They didn't pick up clothes. They didn't put anything away. And I was the opening manager the next day, and they opened every day. They came in, they did their thing, and all their people left by like 1 or 2 or something. It wasn't like a full thing. And she came in, and she was mad because she felt like the people who were closing before her were purposely dumping their work off onto her people, and it was disrespectful. And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely fucking right.
Yeah.
And I went and I nipped that shit in the bud, and I told everyone, like, this isn't their responsibility. They're not here to pick up after us. They're here to work with us. They're here to learn. And it's not their job to do our job for us.
Yeah.
And at that point, she was kind of like, oh, you woke. And her and I, we would chop it up and everything. And she was kind of my female T back then.
Yeah.
Because she knew what had happened between me and the other girl.
Show Tatum.
And she knew that I was a good guy, and she knew that I got fucked over, and she felt for me.
Yeah.
And so when they were walking me out, I asked if I could go say bye. So my quote-unquote ex kind of looked up to her because she was a strong black woman.
Yeah.
You know, like fierce, intelligent.
Yeah.
So she was kind of like a quasi-role model.
Yeah.
So my ex would talk to her a lot and ask her things and spend time with her. So I go back there to say bye and let her know like what happened. And when I go back there, my ex is sitting in a chair in that office talking to her, like taking her 15-minute break. And I go, I just want to say bye to you. I thank you for everything, but I've been fired. They've let me go, and I'm out of here. And she's like, all right, I'll talk to you later. Because at that point, we were Facebook friends.
Yeah.
And I see my ex in the chair basically just like hand to face start crying. Because she knows that all this whole 8-month chain of events all started at that shit.
Yeah.
And she knew deep down too I didn't deserve that shit. I was a good guy. And so I ended up getting fired, and I went in my car. I called the manager of the store, and I just thanked her for everything. I told her I appreciated it all and that I'd miss her, and she was a good lady and none of it was her fault. And I was sorry that I put her in that position. Then I went home. Well, I didn't go home to my apartment. I went to my mom's house because at that point I didn't know what the fuck to do. Because even though that was like my fourth job, I'd never been fired before.
Yeah.
All of my other jobs I left on my own volition. So at this point, I was, I was living in an apartment with a buddy. Now I was jobless. I didn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
So I went to my mom's just so I wouldn't be alone for a while, and I talked to my grandmother. And eventually I went home and I told my buddy what happened, and he saw how much of a wreck I had been because he was there for all of it. And that was kind of what bonded us.
Yeah.
Because I initially moved in with him because his fiance cheated on him with somebody and they broke up and he needed a roommate. So that was how I moved in to begin with. And then a couple months after I moved in, all this shit went down with me. So it was like we were bonded by
brothers in arms.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
nice circumstances.
well, yeah.
Nice that you're bonding.
Yeah. But yeah, I ended up looking for a job. I basically sat in the apartment and I played games on my laptop and I played Xbox while I job searched online.
Yeah.
Had a phone interview with the lady who ended up hiring me at our current company a day after I got fired.
Wow.
Because one of my buddies worked at the office and he told me about the position. I applied. Within an hour they called me and interviewed me. She told me she'd call me by the following Monday. Never called me. About 6 weeks went by, and at this point I was starting to run out of money because I had sold stuff on eBay. But like I said, I worked at a job that didn't pay me much. I didn't have a lot of savings. So I was quite appreciative when I got that call back because I was running out of options, and I was getting to the point where I thought I was going to have to move out and say sorry to my buddy, I can't cut it.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting hired in and sitting next to you and meeting all you guys, and here I am now.
You just heard the Lunchbox story.
Wow.
I didn't know most of the details of that story. That's fresh to me.
So that's why you could say that when I first met you guys, I was bitter and I was hurt, and it took me a long time to be okay because that was a lot of shit to take. And that's why, like, even now, like, even a couple days ago, I posted a picture on on Instagram about, like, telling people how you feel, and I wrote something about not bottling shit in because I did that, and I still do that. And it fucked me up for a long-ass time. Like, a long fucking time. And that was part of, I think, what led to me ballooning back up to 444 pounds and, like, not making an effort to grow and, like, just kind of burying myself because I fucking hurt on the inside for so goddamn long that, like, I didn't know that I was going to find my way back.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I welcome to it. I'm glad that you did find your way back. I'm glad I've been here for it.
I didn't know it was only 6 weeks in between us meeting and all that shit.
Wow.
That's wild. What you think about that? That. Yeah, you was fresh off some shit. That was. Goddamn.
I think. I remember us having a long talk. It was one day I didn't have nothing to do, and we had just started talking. And you told me not all of it, but you told me a good chunk of that. You was just like, I just remember when you were saying this, like I hadn't really said that out loud before.
Well, I mean, like, I was hurt, and I felt like if I talked about it, it was going to make it worse. And then, too, like, I knew I fucked up. So, I fucked up because I should have known better, I felt like, but I shouldn't have because I was young.
Yeah, you're young and dumb. How was you going to know better?
But at that point, I was hurt. So my thought was, like, you should have known better. Like, and that's why, like, I guard myself because it's like I felt like if I just looked for the answer, if I had looked 2 steps ahead, none of this would have happened. I could have moved on, or I could have avoided it, or I could have handled it better. But the truth is, I couldn't have.
Yeah.
I had feelings. I thought they were returned, and I went with it, and it blew up in my face. But in the end, like, it was for the best because I learned a lot, and it got me to where I am right now, in a roundabout way.
Dude, I always respect the notion of, people be like, if you could go back in time and change things, would you? And I'm like, I wouldn't, because it's like, assuming where I am right now is a good place, then I could not have arrived here without going through bullshit. Mm-hmm. And so the bullshit is required. Not gonna lie to you, if I could change certain things, if I had superpowers and could change things, Lord willing, man, I would. But not really.
It's why, like, my love life has seemed so unimportant at times to me, because that was my first one.
Yeah.
Then the second one was a girl that I had a crush on in high school that we ended up becoming Facebook friends, and then the next thing I know, like, we're texting, like, every day. Like, she would text me in the morning, like when I get to work, hello, we would chat. We met up for breakfast. She was texting me at like 3 a.m, and I had to be up for work at 6:30.
Yeah.
And I was staying up and I was talking to her, and like we talked about doing shit together. And it's like I'm thinking, okay, and I admitted to her that I had a thing for her in high school.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, we talk every fucking day. Like,
these must be steps.
Yeah, these are things. And then it's like all of a sudden, out of the fucking blue, she's dating some dude and like she's knocked up, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I went.
I didn't know she had got pregnant.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was why I stopped talking to her. And then after they broke up, she started trying to text me again. And at that point, I was like, what the fuck? I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. I'm like, I talked to you all that other shit. I did it. That's why I get so upset at myself, because when I get emotionally attached to these people, I give them everything I have, and then I always end up getting fucked, and then I feel like mad at myself because I let myself be vulnerable again, and then it always seems like the people who fuck me end up trying to come back and act like the fucking never happened.
Yeah, but you can't get mad at yourself because of that.
I know, and that's what I've learned, you know.
Well,
but it's like, so this has been my love life path. The first one I just described in like a 40-minute detail.
Yeah.
The second one was that quick little blurb right there of constant talk. All of a sudden, whoops! Now I'm pregnant by another dude, even though I've been talking to you for 3 months. And I meant like telling me shit, like spilling their heart to me.
Yeah.
Like, and then I was like, what the fuck? You're pregnant now? Like, where the fuck did this guy come from? So it's like I went from this fucked up thing to this fucked up thing. Then the third one was girl that I had met at a gaming shop. We became friends. We hung out. We went to a concert together. Legitimately went out on a date. Seemed like everyone seemed to think she was into me. And then all of a sudden, whoops, she's a giant thief, has a drug lab in Berea, Ohio, in the news, and then in jail for a year. And I'm just like, I can't fucking win. I just can't fucking win. And then, like, the fourth one was more normal. It was like chat, met up for lunch once, had dinner plans, then canceled dinner plans on me, and then told me wasn't interested. That one was more normal. That's why I don't hold any bitterness towards because at least, like, she didn't fuck me.
Toward Ching Ching.
Whatever. I don't know if she listens to this, but whatever. Because that's why I'm not mad at her, and I didn't want to continue to be friends with her on Facebook and shit because I didn't want to see her shit all the time.
Yeah, but you harbor no resentment.
Yeah, I have no resentment towards her because at least she was straight up with me and was like, you know what, I'm not into this.
Yeah.
Or she didn't say it in those terms, but like she let me off easy without fucking me over like the previous 3.
Yeah.
And then, like, I've dabbled with talking to people, but I've never really been into it because, like, those first couple, man, they fucked me up bad. And it got to the point where I'm like, I don't know what a fucking healthy relationship is. Because it seems like every time I try it, it never fucking goes right. I always end up in some fucked up situation. I just don't know, man.
I think when it comes to crushes, they're the worst ones. Because you're almost going into it like 4 or 5 steps ahead of the person that you got a crush on. It's like, I already fucking love you almost.
I think, and part of my problem, I think, too, is like I've been so uncomfortable with myself because of like of all this and just being fat. I mean, if I'm being honest, being fat, and then like all the shit that went down with my few attempts. It's like it was like in Tommy Boy when he's like I latch on. I'm like JoJo, the idiot circus boy, and I just kill my pretty little pet. That's how it feels. It's like I'm like, oh shit, they seem to genuinely like me. How can I fuck this one up? How can I get too attached too quickly and then just end up like with nothing? But it's also because like I don't feel up until this point where like I was really letting myself out. It was like a doctored up version of what I wanted people to see instead of what was really there because I was so fucking battle scarred. Because I mean, like, I would hope that most people's dating lives don't start like mine did.
Yeah.
Because that's real fucking hard to bounce back from.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've grown in so many different ways. I think hopefully in the next few months and years coming, you give yourself more credit. And the fact that, like, I know my problem in life is I'm a little bit too optimistic about some things, and I feel like maybe I have lived a somewhat privileged life when it's come to women, and.
That long-tongue girl in middle school.
You know what? I'll tell you a story about her. And how...
Put it in my dick hole.
Oh my god!
Let me tell you a story about her and I in Conolingus.
No, I had a very, very big crush on her.
Yeah.
And we did do stuff like I kissed her and stuff like that, but she started dating like one of my friends. And... Which... We weren't best friends, but I think we became more friends after they started dating. And he used to cheat on her. And I knew all about it. And we used to catch the rapid together. I knew who the other girl was. I knew everything. And I never told her. Because I knew if I told her, then it would be no chance for me and her ever. Mm-hmm. And if I told her, like, me and her were friends, and I'm just like, what, like... I don't know. I just feel like life is such gray, not black and white. So I never said anything about it. But like I said, I knew if it came from me, that I knew about it, or the fact that if I was told her, it was just it wouldn't do me any good. But
what you're saying though, and I want to hear the rest. I just want to interject the thought of everything that I described, what I went through, is why at this point in my life, when I hear that people have cheated on somebody else, it really sours my opinion of that person. Yeah. Because I know what it's like to be on the other side of that fucking hurt and that broken trust. And I know how much it killed me. So when I know people who have done that to other people, I become infuriated because I know how that other person, if they found out or whatever, how they would feel, and I don't want people to feel how I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had my first girlfriend cheated on me, and my brother knew about it, and he was like, "You were being a dick, so I didn't tell you." I was just like, "What?" I was like, "Well, it's okay." I'm not like I'm just I don't know. Maybe I'm just like kind of not callous towards stuff like that, but it's like I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. Just not. I just don't feel that kind of. Maybe I'm just broken inside about shit. But anywho, like later on in life, me and her. I remember me and her went out on a date. I was like maybe 30 or something like that, but like or my late 20s. Shit, I was about 27. Anywho, and it was just like I just remember the feeling like I've been waiting all those years to finally take her out and do something with her. I was just like that was boring. And but I just remember, but going back to when we were younger, I was just like she was the girl I always wanted to date, and it was just like. It would be sullied if I did say, "Oh, guess what? Gerald cheated on you," and with the girl who got pregnant when she was 13. So, and it was just like, I don't know. I'm glad I didn't say anything because when she found out, it was like it was terrible, and she cried all day at school, and. I'm glad I didn't have shit to do with it. Mm-hmm. But she had a long ass tongue. There you go.
Delicious.
I think like another thing though that gets added to it is when something like that goes on with you, and everyone around you fucking knows what happened to you, and it's like you just get the looks and like you get the like. That feeling of like people don't want to approach you or they're like walking on eggshells and everything. Yeah. And it sucks, man.
Eggshells do suck. I know we were talking about this a little bit at lunch about like how you're saying I'm very facade with people, how I just say hello and then keep going. Because like I don't like eggshell situations.
Yeah.
I'd rather just
you ain't trying to have small talk where you keep having to back away, and if you leave. You ain't trying to deal with that shit. I hate that when I get caught in situations like that. Like, could you please not talk to me now? Because I really would like to, maybe do a little bit of this work I got right here. And it's constantly one of them work situations people want to come. That's why when an old girl comes to my desk, I'll tell you about who that is off air. I'll be like, please don't come back here. I mean, I should be up there talking to people, again, person whose name I can't say, should be up like.
I just say so you can leave it out.
Because I don't even want to bleep names. It's just there. But they'll be in my row talking to somebody on the other side of me. You know what I'm saying, up here, and they'll look back there and catch me, and I'm like, don't catch my eye.
Yeah.
Don't look at me because you come over here. It's gonna be like a 30-minute conversation about your kid. And so it's like, I get it. And I respect the fuck out of it. And like I said, in some situations, I generally just wave. Oftentimes, I won't even say a word. It's like, hey, just keep moving. Because it's just that much chiller about the situation.
Yeah, for a while, I used to, not necessarily play this game with myself, but like to only say 20 words a day at work. And like after I did 20, went to 16, went to 15, it kept on going down. And like, I got down to like only saying, and the thing was, if you spoke to me, I would speak.
Yeah.
But if you didn't speak to me, other than that, I would not say anything, because I just felt like it got to the point where like I was just being like I realized how I was changing with like I didn't feel like making other people comfortable by talking anymore.
Yeah.
And like it was just like if you're my friend or something like that, I'll speak to you, or if we had like some kind of rapport, I'll speak to you.
Yeah.
But it's just like so many people don't have your best interest at heart, even in like in a facade way. Like you can have real relationship with people and really talk to them, but most people at the end of the day, if you don't have something for them, they're only looking to see what you can do for them. So
that's why, like, I'm been at the point where I'm like, when all this shit happened, and T's like, oh, do you think that like you could still be friends? Like things didn't work out, but you could still have a dope friend out of this, or and shit like that. And I'm just like,
they weren't a dope friend to begin with.
I'm shut down because I'm like, why is it that like I always have to be the one to swallow shit when people fuck me over or do shit to me? Like, I don't want to fucking be like, oh, you know what? It's cool. You fucked around on me. Like, yeah, we can still talk and text, or oh yeah, it's completely fine that you went and got fucking knocked up by another guy while you're talking to me. It's cool that you want to be Facebook friends still and text me like nothing ever happened, or like man, it's like, why do I don't feel the need anymore to try and be like, you know what? Yeah, you know, it's fine. We can still talk. I'll still be nice to you. Like, no, like, you admitted you were shitty to me. Why the fuck do I gotta swallow shit so you can feel better about being shitty to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
I did that shit before. Like, she wasn't shitty to me, but there was this girl that I went to middle school with, and we went like 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and then she transferred out to Seven Hills, and I eventually moved to Parma. So she went to like Normandy. I went to Valley Forge. And I had a crush on her when we were in middle school and everything. And then, like, I told her we were supposed to go to prom together.
Yeah.
And I eventually told her, and she's like, nah, I'm good. And I was like, all right. But then it turned into like, well, I like your friend. Can you hook me up with your friend? And I was just like,
did you know?
Like, what the fuck? But because I was trying to be the good friend and the nice guy, you know, I was like, I didn't like move on, because at that point like, we had a history and everything, so I still try to be. We're still Facebook friends or anything, but like, I don't talk to her no more. I don't even think I ever followed. Like, she barely posts anything on Instagram, thank God. I think I might even have unfollowed her on there, but like, it was like I was like, you know what? I'll be your friend because I'm the good guy. I'm Dan. I'm nice to everybody. And then like, I tried to swallow my pride and be friendly with the woman who cheated on me because I'm Dan, I'm the nice guy. And then the fucking thing with the woman who ended up getting knocked up by the other dude, like, I stayed your Facebook friend because I'm Dan, I'm the nice guy. And then the one that ended up going to jail, I'm still Facebook friends with her because I'm Dan, I'm the nice guy. Jeez, and then it's like, I'm getting tired of being Dan, the nice guy, because I'm getting tired of being Dan, the guy that always fucking people treat like shit and then think it's cool because I don't call them out on their bullshit.
Did she steal from you?
She tried to hit me up for money when she moved to Pittsburgh through Western Union.
Oh.
Yeah, but you still your
man and so forth.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that.
Fuck her all the way. Not fuck her all the way, but you feel.
But you showed us some cool pictures, so.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, when she, like, I'm pretty sure she became a stripper for a minute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you stood your ground. You didn't be like, I'll give you the money. You didn't do that, so.
But that was the thing, like, I almost did.
Oh.
It's because I fucking care about people, even when they fuck me. And that's been something that I'm like, why do I continue to care when people continually fuck me? Like, I'm tired of getting fucked and then still being the nice guy like nothing happened.
That's why you need to get on your Joe shit and start fucking other people. And then sing songs about. You need to start Dirty Mac.
All those things your man won't do.
You need to do
it's why
you need to do some African American kissing on some pussy.
It's why lately I've planted my flag on the fuck dude mentality, specifically one person, because I'm tired of pretending like they don't do shit to people and just try and brush it off like it's all cool. And then everyone's just, oh, that's just how they are. Fuck that. Quit treating people in your life like they're disposable fucking tools for you to feel better about yourself. Be a fucking man. Be real with people. I fucking hate you.
You don't know who you are, though.
Yeah, because you won't listen to this shit, because you're a spineless little fuck.
Spineless little fuck.
Hey, man, you was mighty quiet this episode.
I am so sorry, Gabe, that I have turned this into a fun night out with the gents and to let Dan bare his soul for the world to hear.
I'm enthralled. This was That's the thing. Guys should be nice to Dan. He gives you sweet ass shirts.
Shit's therapeutic.
That's the thing. The people in my life that are good to me, I fucking do anything I possibly can for. I really do. I give everything I can that I have to spare. When people ask me to do shit, I do it for them. I listen to everybody's fucking problems. Just don't fuck me, because I'm at the point where, like, I'm not taking it anymore. Yeah. I am done.
You don't cook, you don't clean, or press my jeans, you don't read to the seeds. All you do is get your feet scrubbed and hair weave. Eat, gain weight. Talk about you gonna leave. Well, bitch, leave. Hit the door. I ain't taking this shit no more.
Domestic Violence might be like the second most good breakup song of all time.
Yo, his wife hate that song. I remember when she heard that song the first time. Him told me about it. Woo!
It's not a good song for women to listen.
Fuck you, birds talking about. Yo, that song start man angry.
It's Kim is probably up there.
I thought you were gonna say "For the Good Times" by Al Green.
Oh no, Kim, by Eminem.
I know we love Al Green. For the Good Times is great, but every single time I hear it, I'm just thinking straight from the deck, slanging billows. Thinking of what was the name? Crime Mob from Decatur, Georgia. So, look, I'm gonna look at this clock right here. I'm wondering how long this episode has gone. 2 hours and 1 minute. Mind you, This recording can only go 2 hours and 15 minutes. We've never maxed it out. We're not gonna start now. We out here, man.
Wait, it can only hold, or like
one episode?
Okay.
If we did a full episode, it holds a 2 hour and 15 minutes of that is what it's.
I got you.
It records as a wave, so that's why it's going to be a massive ass file when it's all said and done.
It's probably going to be a two-parter.
I have.
Could be a two-parter
or a Patreon.
Yeah, whatever.
So 2 people can hear me bare my soul.
I'll
put that out for the masses.
I'll edit as need be, and I'm judicious with my edits as it is anyway.
I feel like we owe Gabe a segment though, because I've definitely rained on his parade.
All right.
No, I don't know if we got.
He hasn't talked on the show because every time we go to do something in the lunchroom, we always have to cut him off because we have to leave.
True. Hey man.
So I feel like we should end this one, and then we should do a Gabe centric episode if you guys are willing. I know it's getting late, but we owe the man at least a little something.
I'm gonna wrap this episode up right here then. Here I am in Lunchbox the Dance Basement Studios, doing the goddamn thing with my gentlemen. Got real therapeutic today. Got a lot of real talk. I love our real talk episodes, and I know people be like, it'd be like, y'all supposed to be funny. Yeah, sometimes we funny as fuck, but sometimes
we are not a comedy podcast.
Some shit's got to be said.
There was some jokes in there.
We're just a podcast,
and I am proud of what we do, and I love the fucking shit we've been doing. And I like that we're going to keep doing it, or so far.
And despite not talking, let me add that I thought this was a great episode, and I was, like, enthralled by Dan's story.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's how we roll.
Another word besides enthralled, but...
It's rules to this shit. I need you to go and review us on iTunes. Not just go give me some stars, although, hey, stars are great. I need you to go and write a review. Do it on iTunes, you do it on Stitcher.
Make it 5 stars.
Easy. 5, motherfuckers, that's how we roll. Not trying to call you a motherfucker. I don't know how you get down, but still... 5.
If you want to fuck mothers, that's up to you. Mothers need fucking too.
They have a whole category of it on X videos.
You go to my show, go to the show's Twitter feed, and it's a pinned tweet there. It'll be one there. I put one there sometimes, multiple times in any given week. But most situations, just once a week now. I've been trying to be better about this shit. I've been trying to let this show be a little more organic and let it work how it's gonna work as opposed to me trying to work it. But go retweet that tweet for me. Just put it out on your feed. It's usually something pretty funny having to do with some kind of fucking hashtag I saw that day and me just trying to work it to our favor. So, when Jeff Bezos announced it came out that Jeff Bezos was divorcing his woman,
Pesos or Bezos.
I had to fucking put it out there. That is a conversation we have to have a little bit of, so maybe we will have to just knock out another show. But we're going to wrap this bitch up, like I said. Yo, that's the homie Tatum 216.
Yes.
Big Lunchbox 2099.
Yep.
Little the real ODP.
I am a little. It's my back. The discs start degenerating.
Oh, good lord.
Hey, you guys wanted to get real.
I am the internet's Terror 713. It got too real. You have just been podcast dude. I know you loved it.
I'll be 5'5" by the time this comes out. I thought I was not future casting anymore.
Hey, what happened to you? You used to be beautiful.